race 2B here today in what is a very sunny Brands Hatch. Bit of a comparison from yesterday, but even more of a comparison, we have Tom Jenkins, our newcomer of the season, starting on pole, and we have Richard Putten starting in second. Now, Richard did a few races with us last year, so he is a little bit more experienced than Tom, so it's going to be interesting to see how they get off the line. But we're going to jump straight into all the action and hand it over to Andy.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Well, those two are at the front of the B grid because they were at the back of the first A race. So Jenkins and Wootton joined by Marcus Bailey and the two non-finishers from race 1A, David Waters and William Hayden, and they replaced the top 5 B runners from yesterday's race who have been promoted. Alan Hawkins, Owen Mills, Clive Chisnell just missed out on promotion spots, so too did Bryn Griffiths and Ivan Leary, who round out the top 10. The rest of them, though, they line up as they finished the previous race, and they'll all be looking for those promotion spots. We've got a few gaps potentially at the back of the field where we had our non-finishers from the early incident in race 1B. Hopefully we'll get them all cleanly through the first few corners on this occasion. So Thomas Jenkins and Richard Wootton then making up the front row of the grid. The green flag flies. Much warmer conditions here this morning at Brands Hatch than we saw yesterday. Will that have an effect on tyre wear? I wonder. We'll wait and see as the lights go out. Away we go. Some away quicker than others. On board here with the 45 car who gets put into the pit wall. Oh my goodness me. That was Graham Rumsey, and that, I'm afraid, could be the end of his race already, but there was just no room there for them all to get, even before they reached the first corner, before they started making contact. And Graham Rumsey, I'm sure, will have sustained some sort of damage in that. How bad it is, I'm not too sure. Anyway, in all of the drama, I missed who got the lead into turn number 1. I think it is still Thomas Jenkins that leads the way. Through Druids they go. 3 and 4 wide behind. Oh, let's get through Druids before we start having accidents this time. I think they just about will. Oliver Jenkins, that was. The white and red car getting squeezed out wide. Just in front of him, the number 74 car trying to make progress on the outside is Clive Chisnell. We're on board with Clive now as we go down the Cooper Straight towards Surtees. Can we turn into the apex? Yes, we can. So that means there's no one on the inside of us. And in fact, we're closing the gap there on the group of cars in front. No move made this time though. Through clearways they go. There's contact in front there with really good reactions there from Chisnell. That was, yeah, the 722 car of Alan Hawkins, slow again off the corner. Now we saw this, remember, in the first race where he was running inside the top 2 or 3, and just after the safety car restart, really slowed out of Druids and got overtaken by several people. So I wonder if there is a gearbox issue with that car that they haven't quite got to the bottom of yet. 3 wide through Paddock Hill Bend, though this must end well. Surely Bryn Griffiths, the man on the outside line. At the front of the field, though, it is Thomas Jenkins that leads the way. There's contact further back, dearie me. It's a very, very robust start to the race. That was number 54, Marcus Bailey, getting into the back of somebody. David Waters, potentially, that was. And very nearly getting airborne. Meanwhile, we've had the change for the lead whilst that was all going on, and it's William Hayden, who non-finished in the first A race. He's got the lead now in this one, and William Hayden, who qualified okay, but just unfortunately didn't finish the first A race, and that means that he is not only demoted to the B grid, but he actually starts behind those that did finish the first A race and also got demoted, so that's why he started down in 5th on the grid. He and David Waters, the 2 non-finishers from race 1A, therefore they get demoted for race 2B. Well, there is the 722 car of Alan Hawkins, who again finds himself with it all to do. He's behind Bryn Griffiths now. The car seems quick again now. This is exactly what happened in the first race. It slowed all of a sudden and then never seemed to do it again after that. So, I don't know, fuel pickup issue maybe, although that's unlikely on a full tank of fuel, which they should all have now at the start of the race. So, not sure what the problem is, but the car seems okay, and he's now starting to apply the pressure to Bryn Griffiths as they drop down the hill. Clive Chisnell not that far in front, and in fact he might go right around the outside of Bryn Griffiths here. Do they lean on each other? No, I think they just about kept it clean. That was a really brave move by Alan Hawkins, and he's gone through, and Bryn Griffiths could lose another place here, I think, through Surtees. Yes, he does. In fact, may lose another 1 or 2. No, just the 1 in the end, and that's the 43 car going past him. And that's Joe Wilmot from 14th on the grid, so he's made some good progress here in the early stages. Joe Wilmot, the white and purple car, and now another car getting up the inside of Bryn Griffiths, whose race is starting to unravel slightly. And that looks like it might be Ollie Jenkins going through. Back on board with, remarkably, the number 45 car here, which I did not think was going to continue after that start line contact. Ray Rumsey, though, is still going. Goes to show just how robust these cars are. Just touching 100 miles an hour as we drop into Paddock Hill Bend, and then only scrubbing off about 20 or 30 miles an hour through the apex. There's still a 70 mile an hour corner. He's a little bit slow on the exit, unfortunately, so I think that was Sam Jarvis diving through. Someone else, in fact, tried to get up the inside as well. But crazy to think that you go through that blind right-hander at Paddock Hill Bend as fast as you legally, at least, can go on a British motorway. Oh, it's all gone wrong here at Graham Hill Bend. Is that Bryn Griffiths? I think it is. Bryn Griffiths has gone around. There was someone else on the grass, but possibly just taking avoidance. Not too sure if there was contact that instigated all of that. Either way, Bryn Griffiths is well outside the top 10 now. Wave goodbye, unfortunately, to his chances of being promoted to the A race later on. The leaders come out of Clearways, back along the start-finish straight yet again. And race 2B starting in fiery fashion here, with some very, very entertaining racing, but it will be a little bit physical at times. Through Paddock they go. The number 3 car there is Richard Wootton. Richard, who started on the front row, he's dropped down a few positions now in the early stages of this one. Marcus Bailey there at the head of this little group, just ahead of 56 Tom Jenkins. As they round Druids once again, these leading cars, leading 4 and 5, have pulled right away from the rest of the field. These are the promotional spaces, the promotional spots up for grabs. So in a way, once you're inside that top 5, especially if you build a bit of a gap over everybody else, not that much sense really in fighting each other too hard, because all you're going to do is hold each other up and maybe allow others to close in, or even risk going off the circuit altogether. 666 is David Waters there, the blue and red car just at the back of this little group, and in fact trying to make a move now, maybe gets a tighter exit there from Clearways than Richard Wootton does. I don't think he was able to draw alongside, no he wasn't, so they're just losing a bit of time now to the 2 cars in front of them. This is a 3-car fight for third, and they're almost 3 abreast at Paddock Hill Bend. One goes one way, that was Richard Wootton going to the outside, and that was the wrong move to make in the end, because David Waters seizes the opportunity, goes to the inside of him, and takes over the position at Paddock Hill Bend. Can he hold it at Druids? Maybe. There was almost a gap up the inside for Wootton there, and indeed he has got to the inside at Druids, but the next corner's a left-hander, and despite the fact that Waters is sideways and off the track practically coming off Druids, he will be able to hold on to the position. And heads through the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend, still in front, so move made there, but that goes to show at Brands Hatch, because one corner leads directly into another, and then another, and then another, an overtake can sometimes take over half a lap to actually complete, and it's not uncommon to see cars run in excess of a whole lap side by side, with the position being debated right the way through. So great racing that this little circuit produces. It's why it's a firm favourite amongst the drivers. It's short, but it's certainly not simple. And well, David Waters finding some real speed here, because he's now pulling up alongside Thomas Jenkins here, trying to go around the outside of Paddock, then dives back to the inside. Jenkins tries to close the door, and does close the door. That was robust defence, but they avoided contact, that was the main thing. And so no change this time around. You do sense that Waters is the quicker of these 3, but frustratingly for David, he's now got Richard Wootton trying to fight back around the outside. There's not as much grip out there though, because that's where all of the dirt and the debris and the marbles from the tyres get thrown offline, and so whilst sometimes it's very inviting to drive right round the outside at Druids, it is the less grippy side of the road. He's having another look at the inside now of Jenkins, can't do it through Surtees. This is a brilliant battle, but I return to my point from earlier on. If they keep on falling over each other, they're going to allow other cars to close in, and they could end up losing their promotion spots. Again, they're side by side, and there's a bit of contact this time coming off Clearways, and I think David Waters is going to be getting a little bit frustrated now with Thomas Jenkins, because that's 2 or 3 times that he's been alongside and has had the door firmly shut in his face, and that time around they did make contact, and every time this happens, Richard Wootton sort of starts to think, oh, maybe I could get back ahead of David Waters here. That just delays the whole process for David. It's quite clearly quicker than these two, just can't quite complete the manoeuvre. Again, he's boxed in behind Jenkins at Druids, so Wootton goes to the outside, but you can see him getting sideways there on the dirty side of the road. It's just not the best place to be, unfortunately. So car 666 struggling to make the progress that it wants to here. David Waters was actually the 5th quickest qualifier in his session. He was right behind Ben Short, to give you some idea of just how quick he's going this weekend. Then had that non-finish in the first A race, and that cost him a lot of points. It also puts him in the B race for this one. He just wants to survive this one in the top 5 and get himself into some clean air, bring it to the flag, and get back on the A grid where he will feel he belongs. And this could be his opportunity actually to gain even more ground, because there is a car in the gravel, and that car is car number 98, Oliver Sieg, who was disqualified from the previous B race and started from the back of the grid for this one. And I think the drivers are slowing down, because there may well be a safety car here because of Sieg's car stuck in the gravel trap. Or are they still at racing speed? No, I think there are yellow flags out, so I think the safety car is coming out. Yes, it is. Some of them have spotted it a bit earlier. So Oliver Sieg, unfortunately, his first race ended in the stewards room. The second race ends in the Paddock Hill Bend gravel trap. We have our second safety car of the season in the B races. We had one in the A race earlier on as well, race 2A, which was won by Ben Short. Out of the pit lane is coming the number 2 car of Jake Stiles, so his chances of making further progress have gone again. He's back in the pit lane with issues, but there is Sieg's car. It's well and truly beached. Not sure how he got there, whether that was assisted or not, but he is out of the race, no doubt. He's out of the car as well, so he's going nowhere, and that will need recovering by the marshals. So another brief delay here in race 2B at Brands Hatch. This time for Oliver Sieg, who is off the road. Now this means that race leaders, who have pulled a little bit away from that battle we were watching, will be caught up now, and this is going to really close things in at the front of the field. I'm pretty sure it was Will Hayden that was leading the way. But this will now allow several other drivers to close in and possibly give Alan Hawkins a chance to get back into the top 5, because he's been running in about 6th or 7th before the safety car, but some way behind the leaders. He doesn't have to win the race, he just has to get into the top 5 to get that promotion into the A race. So this will now make that a lot more likely. There is he's 2, 4, 6, 8th position at the moment for Alan Hawkins, but for someone who will feel he should have probably been on the podium in both races, that will be a bit of a disappointment. So across the line they come very slowly behind the safety car, get a chance to check in with a few of the drivers running a bit further down the order, and all of them having entertaining races, I'm sure. There's the yellow number 14 machine coming through of Elliot Han, started 20th, but I think he's gained a couple of spots from there already. And you can see all the way up and down the order these novice crosses, the yellow circle with the black cross, meaning that that is a car being driven by someone who's taking their first steps into motorsport. They're in one of their first races, and therefore a little bit less experienced, maybe more prone to mistakes and doing things that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to. So it's there as a warning, as a courtesy to the other drivers, to let them know that they're racing someone who's a little bit less experienced. Oliver Sieg's car, though, out of the gravel trap, and those marshals at Paddock have a lot of experience of digging cars out of that particular kitty litter, and they've already retrieved several cars today from that gravel trap. I'm sure there'll be several more before the day is out. I don't think it's quite out of the way yet, though, so one more lap of safety car will be required, and therefore this is eating into the race time now. The time does not stop ticking. They're timed races, these races, 20 minutes in length, and the time continues to tick away even when the safety car is out. So if it's out for 3 or 4 laps, then that will lose you maybe 5 minutes or so of racing time. So it's in the driver's best interest to keep it clean and to avoid safety car periods. Sam Jarvis, the number 11 car, he's had an entertaining day, hasn't he? Of course, he was the driver that was assaulted by Oliver Sieg in the previous race up at Druids, and that led to the penalty for Sieg. Jarvis lost lots of positions there, and this is the problem. Even when the other driver gets penalised, it doesn't necessarily mean that much to the driver that ended up spinning, because they'll lose lots of positions that don't then get gifted back. If you've spun, regardless of the reason for it. There's car 90 working its way through. And one of the white and red cars out there, but that one with the orange roll cage. It's Bruce Robinson, started 29th. He's definitely gained a few spots. Don't worry, the world hasn't suddenly tilted on its axis. That camera, I think, is not quite mounted straight on the roll hoop of the car, but gives you a sense still of the drop through Paddock Hill Bend. And well, as much as the drivers are enjoying this opportunity to cool down and catch their breath on what is a very warm afternoon at Brands Hatch, I'm sure they'd like to see the lights extinguished on the BMW safety car. When that happens, that means we're about to go back to racing. I think they've moved Oliver Sieg's car now, though, so hopefully we will go racing this time. Looks like we will be. So the field starts to bunch up now at the front, and we'll watch to see not only what happens for the race lead, but also whether anyone else can get into the top 5 and nick one of these promotional spaces away. Off we go. Green flag flies once again, and as we move into the final third of race 2B, we have a real battle on our hands at the front of the field. Across the line we go then. The 2-car fight for the lead one to watch, but also what's going to happen behind with the promotional spots. Right back to racing again, and First drivers to try and make a move is going to be Sam Jarvis, but I think that's the lapped Jake Styles just getting out of the way. Yes, it is. It's the number 2 car, so that was not actually a change for position, but still Jake Styles doing the right thing, staying out of the way of the lead lap cars as he deals with his own troubles this weekend. There was Alan Hawkins trying to make another move as well, as this battle now resumes for 3rd place between Thomas Jenkins and David Waters. Waters can now see an opportunity maybe to go and fight for a race victory here, but at the very least to get onto the podium. Through Surtees we go. It's not all about promotional places, of course, here. You score more points the further up the order you finish. It goes without saying, really. So 2-point increments between each position. So if you finish 3rd, you score 2 more points than 4th. So it's well worth David Waters going for it here. And go for it he is, as he tries every which way to get past Thomas Jenkins. He's tried the inside, he's tried the outside, he's tried everything but driving over the top of the 56 car to make his way through. It's just not working. William Hayden, though, leads the way. Marcus Bailey is the man applying the pressure there in the number 54 car. Those two just starting to pull away slightly from the 2 cars behind, who are still in the same order then, so still Jenkins ahead of Waters. And Richard Wootton appears to still be in the final promotional spot in 5th. Yes, he is, but being caught, I'd say, by Clive Chisnell, so that could be the battle to watch. Bruce Robinson, meanwhile, has got his hands full now. The last time we rode on board with him through this part of the circuit, he was weaving around nice and slowly under the safety car, and now things are an awful lot busier. Look at this 2x2 in front of him, just can't pick a lane to go. There's nowhere to go, really, because they're running all over the circuit in front of him, but he's going to gain a place there because there was a bit of argy-bargy in front of him. Gain a position, I think, as a result of that. So out of Graham Hill, or maybe not actually, no, drops back again, but you can see the back of his car, the rear bumper is hanging loose, and that will be dragging on the ground and acting as a bit of an air brake as well, so slowing him down in a straight line. And no doubt the noise will be distracting as well, so that may explain why he wasn't able to make that particular move. This car slowing down and trying to stay out of everyone's way. I thought it was going to pit, but it hasn't, so maybe someone with an issue there. It's always a danger when you've got such a big pack of cars behind that are closing very rapidly. I thought it was. It's the number 37 car of Tim Dorr, one of the Masters entrants. There is smoke coming from the exhaust as well. Oh dear, he's trying to stay out of the way, but then turns straight in front of Thomas Mallet, so he's clearly decided he's going to race again now. Rear-facing camera there, down through Paddock Hill Bend, and immediately over to the right-hand side, which means rather attacking or defending. I think we were defending from Ashley Heath there, the 68 car, who disappears from view briefly, very nearly disappeared off the track. He was so late on the brakes at Druids. Needless to say, the overtake does not happen, and like it was the number 90 car, he was trying to get past Bruce Robinson again. Side-by-side action here towards Surtees. You can't really run side-by-side through here. And Bryn Griffiths there, the 31 car. This safety car's given him an opportunity to maybe fight back after that spin he had at Graham Hill earlier on. Clearways back onto another lap of the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. The leaders have long gone, but these midfield squabbles very entertaining indeed. And Jake Styles in amongst it all as well, still a lap or 2 down after his pit lane visit. Then they go, Bryn Griffiths to the outside line, trying to not necessarily go right round the outside, but get the switchback manoeuvre, which he executes absolutely beautifully there on Ivan Leary, and goes to the inside. And he's going to pick that place up, I think, as they go into Druids, just in front of him now, numbers 27 and 14. 14 Elliot Han, and 27 Christian Dan, and they started pretty close to each other on the grid, and they're pretty close to each other on the track as well there, as Christian Dan fends off the attack from Elliot Han, and that will bring Bryn Griffiths onto their tail, and Bryn out-qualified the pair of them for the first race and finished ahead of them both in that first race as well, so he should be able to make light work of these two. As I say, the safety car bunching up the field, meaning that he didn't have to travel quite as far to catch the next group of cars. Someone running wide up in front. Did they make it all the way into the gravel? No, I think we're okay. They're all still there. But one car losing momentum onto the pit straight presumably was the culprit of the dusty moment there. Onto another lap we go, though. Only time for a couple more now, so we're getting towards the end of what has been another very action-packed second B race here at Brands Hatch. This is the fight for the race lead, and whilst Marcus Bailey has been right with William Hayden all race long, he's not really been able to mount a serious challenge. And as we get now into the closing stages, you have to ask the question, is he going to go for the race victory, or is he going to settle for second position? David Waters has the fastest lap, so that's that bonus point gone. Neither of them likely to beat him to that lap time. So really, it's only a 2-point difference here that these two are fighting for, and whilst they're safely in the promotional spots, it may not be worth taking a big risk. Waters, though, is into third. He's finally got past Thomas Jenkins, who's got Richard Wootton closing in, and Clive Chisnell there, the silver car with the orange stripe, desperately trying to get into the top 5. He's running out of time to do it now. Across the start-finish line we go. This battle's still raging on behind as well. Single file on this occasion through Paddock Hill Bend, the packed outer paddock there. You could see in the distance lots of interested onlookers up against the fence in the paddock there. Richard Wotton getting sideways, did not need to do that because here comes Clive Chisnall, and Chisnall sensing a chance now, his best opportunity so far maybe to make it into those all-important top 5 positions. Richard Wotton does not need to be throwing the car sideways through any corner on the circuit really, let alone Druids. Richard, as we heard Lindsay saying pre-race, one of the less experienced drivers on the grid, but doing well to be running in the top 5 here, albeit in the B grid. It's still a strong pace being run here by the race leaders. Fastest lap from David Waters in this race of 57.9, which is within about half a second or so of the fastest lap from the A races. As I said, there isn't that much of a speed differential between the two grids. On to the final lap of the race now, though, and there's traffic right in front of the race leader, and they're side by side as well. That is not what the number 65 car of William Hayden wanted to see, and this is Marcus Bailey's best opportunity now to try and go for the race victory. Looks to the inside at Druids, looks back to the outside at Druids, and this may just have unsettled William Hayden enough for him to make a mistake and maybe allow Marcus Bailey through. It doesn't happen at Druids. Down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend they go again, through the left-hander, and for the time being Hayden fends him off. Just half a lap to go, and only really one more overtaking opportunity, and that is Clearways, the right-hander coming up momentarily. Surtees is flat out, but if you carry good speed out of here, you can have a go on the brakes up the inside line, but it looks as though Hayden's going to defend. Oh, there's a bit of contact nearly between the two of them there. Hayden sideways, gathers it all together, and Marcus Bailey, well, I was going to say we'll have to settle for second place, but then Hayden got sideways, and Bailey will carry much more speed onto the pit straight. Is he going to get there in time? The answer is no, and it will be William Hayden who wins race 2B at Brands Hatch. Marcus Bailey is in second place, and David Waters, a very, very hard-fought third place for him from Thomas Jenkins, and Richard Wotton does hold on to the final promotional spot, with Clive Chisnall just missing out in the end. There's confirmation of your result then. Hayden, Bailey, Waters, Jenkins and Wotton are your top 5, with Clive Chisnall 6th, Wilmot 7th, Alan Hawkins 8th, Owen Mills 9th and Sam Jarvis rounding out the top 10. Then Ollie Jenkins, Bryn Griffiths, Christopher Ginn, Christian Dan and Ivan Leary to round out the top 15 finishers. David Waters there, as I said, with the fastest lap of 57.9. Be interesting to see what he can do from the A race later on. And Oliver Sieg disqualified from the weekend, unfortunately, so he will not be classified as a finisher, and Simon Ricketts was not classified as a starter. Unfortunately, the damage sustained yesterday too severe, and he did not make it out onto the grid.
I must say, to start off with, congratulations on your first ever win.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting it, to be honest, at all. So to come out with a win, I'm surreal, super happy, especially after yesterday having a broken drive shaft. Didn't even make it into the A race, so yeah, I'm loving life at the moment. Brilliant.
Well, Marcus seemed to keep you true on that.
Marcus pushed me. He pushed me. To be fair to him, he's a really good driver, and he was pushing me really, really hard. But luckily, I managed to hold him back just one more lap, and I think it would have been a bit tricky too. But yeah, got it there in the end.
Well, back into the A's for this afternoon.
Yeah, I'll be pushing hard as possible. Hopefully, get in top 15.
Marcus, you must be overwhelmed with that.
Very shaky start, really rough stuff. Not used to it in the Bs. Got my head together. Got the lap times. Safety car was a godsend, and then after that it was just push, 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 push. I nearly had the door open at Clearways twice, but wasn't to be. One more lap, he was getting looser and looser, but hats off to the guy. He's been around, he's done a season. I've been on the top in the Bs, and I'm running in the A's, and good luck to the guy. He's going to come A's now.
David, you must be overwhelmed to go from sim racing to real racing?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I mean, everything's still the same, like the way you control the car and everything, but it's, yeah, when you've got all these cars around you and the consequences are real for going off, it's a little bit different. Yeah, it's quite daunting. I still don't know what to say, to be honest. As you know, as I say, yesterday I didn't get a proper race in, so it's my first real race, really, that's lasted more than 2 laps. So.